Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Boom Boom Review Stuff. And I am back for another television show review. And today, I'm going to be reviewing The Queen of Versailles Reigns Again. And this video is including all of the spoilers, so if you have not seen this and you're going to want to see it, okay, you're probably not going to want to watch this video because I will be ruining parts of it for you. But I have to tell you, this was a show that I started watching like 2 days ago, and I watched one episode and then I watched the rest of it. I binge watched the rest of it last night. So let's talk about this, okay? It was a Discovery Plus television show, and then HBO Max picked it up, and it just came out last week. First of all, we need to talk about Family Feud. No. First of all, actually, did you know that Steve Harvey got named one of the best dressed men of 2022? I think that is hilarious. And he has like these Gucci leather pants on and all this kind of, and Tom Ford off the runway. And I was like, Steve Harvey from Family Feud? So anyway, okay, so about 10 or 15 years ago, I don't know when, I was going to look it up and be like real official in this video, but it is what it is. Y'all know I love the documentaries, okay? I love the documentaries so much. I do. I love them, okay? I will watch documentaries about anything, all right? My favorite all-time documentary, I can't remember the exact title, but it's like The Wonderful and Wild West of Whites of West Virginia. Do you guys know that one? Oh my God. And it's like that one guy's like, the mating calls of the, and he's like rattling that can of pills. I love that documentary so much. It has like Mamie White in it. Did you guys ever see that documentary? Okay, about all those people that live in that town in West Virginia. It's fantastic. If you've never seen it, you need to watch it. Okay, so I love documentaries. I know people think I just love true crime documentaries, but that's not true. I will watch documentaries literally about anything, right? Another one of my favorite ones, if you can find it, is one I watched years ago. It's called Stevie. And it's about this guy, and he's like the videographer in it, and he was this kid's, the kid is now like 30, I think, or 20-something, and way back in the day, he had been like his big brother or his like mentor, like in this mentoring program, and so he goes back to see like what's happened to his life since, and it's just such an endearing documentary. It's fantastic, but I love to watch documentaries about anything, okay? So drop titles in the comment section below. I can tell you it's really hard to find a documentary that I haven't seen. But I just love to watch documentaries of any kind. So anyway, actually the one that I haven't watched, I've been wanting to watch, is like The Best Friend, the Octopus, or whatever. Do you guys know that it was up for an Academy Award a couple years ago? That's like the one documentary I've been wanting to see, and whenever it comes up, I'm like, oh, I'll just watch it another time. So anyway, about 10 or 15 years ago, there was this documentary that came out, and it was called The Queen of Versailles, and it was about Jackie Siegel, okay? Jackie Siegel is the wife of David Siegel. There's a 30-year age difference, and he is the owner, CEO of Westgate Resorts, which is, I think, the largest timeshare company in the world, okay? And she was also a Mrs. Florida, and that is how he met her. He had been divorced about 3 or 4 years. He's been married 3 times, and he has kids from previous marriages. I think he has 2 or 3 kids from previous marriages. He has like a daughter from his one previous marriage, and then like, I think 2 kids maybe from his first wife. But anyway, and then he married Jackie, and they had 7 children together. So she was Mrs. Florida, and he met her and all this kind of stuff. So then they lived this fabulous life together. Well, in the crash of 2008, I think it was, he lost like a lot of money, okay? So they had to like, you know, downsize and all this kind of stuff. And they were building at that time this house called Versailles, because they based it on the Palace of Versailles. And he actually drew it on a, I don't know why I just thought of that, but do you guys remember Simon from Saturday Night Live? I'm Simon and I do drawings. Okay, but anyway, he drew it on a napkin on their way back from their honeymoon. They had gone to Versailles on their honeymoon and things like that, and they went to France. So anyway, so they had been building this Versailles, this house, and it was supposedly the largest single family home dwelling in the United States, okay? Now, they didn't talk about this in the series that I'm going to talk about, but I remember in the original documentary, they talked about how their backyard, like, is on Lake Walt Disney. I think that's what they said, and they can, like, see the fireworks at night, and that was one of the reasons why they picked that property, okay? So anyway, at the time of the original documentary, their kids were all really, really young. And it was really kind of about showing that Jackie, the wife and mother, she was completely out of touch of reality. Like, there was a part in there where she goes to visit her family in upstate New York, and she flies in, and she gets a rental car, and she's like, where's my driver? And they're like, what? Like at Avis Rental or something. And she's like, where's my driver that comes with my rental car? And they're like, you don't get a driver with your rental car. And then he like says she has to buy everything for Christmas at Walmart. And so she buys like 4 or 5 Candylands. And, you know, it's like extravagant, over the top, even though she's shopping at Walmart. She's really out of touch with reality when it comes to money. And quite frankly, is kind of a hoarder. Like, and her kids even say that she's kind of a hoarder. And even in this documentary series, like, they live in this unbelievable home while Versailles is still, because it's now been being built for 15 or 20 years. And the home that they're living in is like, I mean, literally every countertop in this kitchen that they show that they're constantly in, it's like every countertop is just like filled with junk. I mean, it would be, I would like be like, like my OCD, it would like drive me crazy. So anyway, so that was the original one, okay? So flash forward, I just noticed that this documentary series came out, and it's called The Queen of Versailles Reigns Again. Now, in the original documentary, they don't ever finish the house because they've lost a lot of money, and so they don't know what's going to happen. Since that time, they, sued the company that made the documentary for defamation. This is just my observation. Please, Jackie and David, don't come for me. Okay, I'm poor. I live in Indiana. I don't have the kind of money that you have. Y'all are buying $750,000 chandeliers. Okay, I'll never see that kind of money. Please don't come for me. I'll take the video down if you don't like it. Okay, it's just really not that deep. Okay, and in fact, I think Jackie might be kind of fun to be friends with, and we could just go shopping or something together. Okay, but she's kind of crazy. She is. She's a fun kind of crazy. She even says in the video series that they're crazy. She even says something at the end, like, we're the crazy great-grandparents that people laugh at later and drink champagne and smoke cigars in the house. And she goes, well, maybe we are a little crazy. You're a lot crazy, okay? And I kind of live for it, but it is whatever. So anyway, they sued the company that made the original documentary, and then they also never finished Versailles. So this series picks up with them finishing Versailles. And David, her husband, who I think is 86 at the time the series is being filmed, he's 87 now, so it must have just been filmed in the last year. He's very sick and has this operation on his back, so he's in the hospital like for months on end during the entirety of this documentary. He only really gets out of the hospital in the last like month of the documentary series. It's 6 parts. 35 minutes each part. It's really easy to watch. And it's about Jackie taking over and finishing several of the rooms. She finishes like the morning breakfast room, which is absolutely beautiful. She finishes this pub, which is incredible that they have in this home. She finishes this dining room, which is, it's okay. It's not my taste. I think it's a little bit, it's a lot. It's avant-garde. And then she has this like living room, which is yet again, I mean, it's very expensive stuff. It's just not my taste. So anyway, and then, like, there are some moments in there that she gets very, very upset because they want to have a Benihana kitchen. And I tweeted out about this. She wanted to have a Benihana. They all wanted to have a Benihana kitchen. So, at their resort in Las Vegas, they have the largest Benihana in the world, okay, restaurant, which they love to go to as a family and sit around and all that kind of stuff, the hibachi grill. So, they want to have this Benihana hibachi grill kind of thing in their house. But the contractor tells her that because of the ventilator trying to get the smell of it out and to get the heat out and everything like that, the sound is going to be horrible and you're going to smell it in your house. Now, if you've ever been to Benihana, okay, it smells on your underwear 4 days later. So why you would want it in your house, I don't know. But she tears down this whole thing, and it's like she's devastated. Her husband's in the hospital through the whole thing, but like every room decision that she has to make that doesn't go her way, she's like, I'm just devastated. This is the worst thing that's happened to me in my entire life. I can't have my hibachi grill. And I even tweeted out, I said something to the effect of like, how dare I ever complain about how bad my life is again when she can't have her hibachi grill? Like, she should be able to have her in-house Benihana. Like, that is so unfair. But anyway, and then the kids are helping her design all this kind of stuff. And the 2 main boys, especially the main boy, David, he's like the one that like helps her like design the rooms and whatever. I will say this. Like, these kids are beyond rich. I mean, beyond rich. And at one point, like, the director says something to this David kid about, do you guys think you live an average life? And he's like, no. I mean, we fly around on private jets, and they show that a lot. And we go to yachts and things. No, but to us, it's average. But to other people, it's not average. But I will say this. Like, she's constantly talking in the documentary series about how she's just real humble and she comes from, you know, nothing and whatever. She's not humble, okay? She's a spendthrift, number one, and is that the right word? No, she's a spendaholic, and she has, like, really no gauge of money whatsoever. She's like, this costs that. She's constantly throwing out prices of what things cost, and it's, like, too much. It's over the top. And, but the kids, I will say, but she seems real nice. I mean, she really does. Like, other than, like, her spending habits, like, she seems like a really nice person, just not, like, kind of emotionally flat a little bit. But you find out later there's a lot that's happened in their life that's kind of difficult. So anyway, but I wanted to say this about the kids. The kids, I have to say, for living this outlandish lifestyle, really seem very sweet and humble. They really, really do. And it's like 2 twin girls that are 14, and then they age up to like 21 or 22. And there's, well, there were 7 of them, and they had a daughter that died of a drug overdose, of which they have started a foundation for called Victoria's Voice. That whole part, especially as an addict in recovery, like, really touched my heart. And there's a whole scene when Jackie sits in her bedroom and talks about her being a heroin addict and all this kind of stuff and having gone to treatment. And I just, like, was sobbing watching it. And there was that part that I just felt like she really, like, let somebody in. And this is the thing, is that she is surrounded by so many yes people in her life that she really is never challenged. She has this fantastic assistant named Sherry in there, but Sherry's like, I have to even, like, manage their emotions, which is difficult at times. And it's like, I just really would love to sit in a room for like an hour with Jackie and, like, break it down and have a real conversation with her, because you can tell she's got a fantastic heart and a soul, but she's just like money, 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 money. She's surrounded herself by all of this, like, fakeness, right? And then there's a scene when her dog passes away, and that is, like, really devastating as well. So there's, like, some very real moments in there, and, you know, and she's kind of like, I mean, she talks about some different things that happen, and it's like, she talks about how the paparazzi kind of came for her when her daughter died because she was taking pictures of the casket. And she's like, this was the last moment that I was going to ever see my daughter. And she shows a picture. They show a picture of her, like, standing there, and I thought, you know, put yourself in her shoes of losing a daughter to an overdose and judge that, you know? You know, how dare you, unless you've gone through that yourself. And then, like, the kids are kind of making fun of her with this dog. They do this funeral and all this kind of stuff, and she wants to cut this hair off and make, you know, a, what do you call it, oh shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? A crystal out of it. She saw that on TikTok, and they're kind of laughing at her a little bit. Like, and I so related to that moment, having had dogs that have passed away. I was like, I get it, you know. She's got another dog that it's called Chanel that she had stuffed that's in the warehouse, but, like, no, I don't want to stuff my dogs and have them sitting around my house. I think that's kind of weird, but, like, I get it. Like, I get not wanting to let go of her, you know, like, of our pets. I understand it. And so when I watched it, it was so weird for me, because I had this, like, kind of like, there was this dichotomy going on where I was like, she's so lovable in some parts, but she's so wacky in other parts too, you know? And you could kind of tell that that's, like, the relationship she had. It's like, but, like, people are afraid to say anything to her. Like, she wanted these birds for, like, her morning breakfast area, but she was picking out birds based on the color to match their chairs, right? And the woman that brought the birds, she was like, I mean, we've had people that, like, wanted birds for different areas of their house or based on what kind of, you know, type of birds, but we've never had anybody base birds on fabric samples. And I'm like, well, maybe you should say that we don't pick animals to be in our lives based on fabric samples. Maybe that's the conversation you should be having with this woman, since you're the one that's selling her these, you know. And then the other thing that bothered me a little bit was she went to this old guy that collects old vintage slot machines. This is a woman that will drop $30,000 on a chair like nobody's business, okay? And this guy collects these old slot machines, and she goes in there and doesn't even know if he's going to sell them to her. And then she's like, she finds one that he likes, and she goes, well, I brought $500. And he goes, oh no, that one goes for $2,500. And she goes, well, all I have is $500. And her sister's there with her, and she's like, well, I've got $2,000. They say something about $2,000, and he goes, or no, he says, I guess the lowest I could go is $2,000. And so they pay him $2,000, and they take the slot machine for this pub, right? And I'm like, You just literally wrangled this guy for a lower price when you will throw $30,000 on a chair with no questions asked. And this is something that this guy's passionate about. And like that part kind of like bothered me a little bit. I just was like, this is not a garage sale, sweetheart. You know what I mean? So anyway, but I enjoyed it overall. I think they kind of let it that there was going to be a season 2 because they showed like all these scenes at the end leading up to like what's going to happen next with the demolition of the house and the kids kind of taking over. So I don't know. If there's a season 2, I'll definitely watch it, you know. It was entertaining. It wasn't as good as the documentary, but it was still good. It was interesting. So let me know if you've watched it in the comment section below and what you thought. And I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video.